On this episode of the Mompreneur Show, I'm talking to Wendy Powell. She's a wife, a mother of 2 children, and a founder and CEO of Mutu System, the medically endorsed, worldwide best-selling online postpartum recovery online program for moms. Today, we'll talk about Wendy's journey going from fitness instructor to an internationally recognized expert. We'll talk about how she did it, the mistakes she's made, how she balances family and business, and we'll sneak in some great fitness tips as well. So if you wear heels, you might want to hear what Wendy has to say. I'm your host, Vicky, and this is a show that features amazing stories of the most remarkable mompreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Wendy, it's such an honor to have you. And as I mentioned in the pre-show, that it's been incredible watching you online doing such incredible things and finally having you on the show because I've been a huge fan.
Thank you.
So let's get started and talk about your journey into entrepreneurship. How did you get started? What's your journey like? What's your story?
Well, I certified as a personal trainer back in 2001, so like 15 years ago. And I started out training sort of all sorts of people, men, women, in all stages of life. But very early on, I kind of figured out that I really, really loved working with moms, whether it be pregnant moms, new moms, not so new moms. I just really enjoyed that clientele. So I started specializing more and more. So this was like, as I say, like 15 years ago. And I started specializing and training and certifying and studying and qualifying more and more in that area. Mm-hmm. And so over the years, I sort of started to specialize, and I had a team of trainers working for me in London. And then in about 2010, towards the end of 2010, I launched my first version of my online program, which at that time was literally me in my backyard on a flip camera. And I had Googled what's the HTML for this or that? How do you put a video online? How do you edit a video? How do you sell something online? Yeah, I literally Googled it. Google was my coach. I just worked it out. I just self-taught it. So that was, and that came about because in all my years of personal training and all the clients, the women I was working with, I started to realize over the years, and in that time, I had my own children in 2005 and 2007. I started to realize that what I had been taught to teach wasn't necessarily working. And it was, I felt that the women that I was telling them what I'd been taught, what I'd been trained to do, and yet there were so many missing answers, so many missing pieces. And these women all had the same concerns, or different but the same. There were a lot of common ground. And then of course I had babies of my own, so I had the same concerns as well. And I just kind of knew, I thought we are not being served here. The fitness industry, the media, it's not giving us the answers we need. And so I set about trying to find those answers, essentially. And I started to find them through working with hundreds and then virtually thousands of women. But studying with biomechanists, studying with physiotherapists, studying kind of outside the box a little bit, because the fitness industry that I had been trained in simply wasn't giving me everything that I needed. So I wanted to find those answers, and gradually I did more and more study, and I worked with more and more women, and I started to find them. So and then I put together Mutu System, which was, as I say, the first round was this kind of me in the back garden Googling how to do it. Now it's quite a different sort of professional setup, but that's where it came from.
That's incredible, and it's amazing how you took a gap in the already established industry and really went for it. And thank you for sharing that. Like, the real stuff behind the scenes is that you started off in your backyard with your flip camera. And literally, that's all it takes to start. Yes. And so how did you go from that into what you have right now, which is an incredibly beautifully produced videos and incredible graphics. Like, how did you get from there to here?
Well, there's a lot of stages along the way. There's a lot of stages. And as I say, that sort of first incarnation of Mutu System 12-week program was the content was there to a large extent, although I have tweaked that very much over the years as well. But there was no investment at the beginning. As I say, it was literally me, Google, and a flip camera. So it's kind of, and then in terms of gradually getting elements to help me in that business, like for instance the design element, I still work with the graphic designer that I found on Twitter in 2010, and now she does a ton of work for me. Everything you see it's Louise at Lula Creative. She's amazing, and she still works with me. So I've been working with Louise for all that, through all that time. So and over the time, I mean, essentially it's like starting any business, in that you add stuff on, you bring in the right people, you bring in expertise as you can afford them. At the beginning, I couldn't afford any of that stuff, so it was like kind of really small projects, just, can you make me a logo? Can you make me, and then, as you grow, you can add those things in. And now I'm in a wonderful position of being able to bring in expertise from all sorts of different, sort of technicalities and elements to the business. But yeah, when you start, you do it all. You figure it out. It's always, you don't wait till you've got your ducks in a row. You just go. You have to just keep going.
That's so powerful. And Wendy, thank you for sharing that. And I want to bring it to our live audience. Is that it's incredible. See, like, we all start small. Like, all of us start small, and you don't have to. And in this day and age, I feel like, Wendy, we're always told to outsource this, outsource that. You'll give yourself more time. But I feel like, outsourcing is great. Like, I do outsourcing, but there's a certain degree where you have to do it on your own in the beginning. Like, it's not only that you're bootstrapped, you save money, you're doing everything yourself, but also you're learning along the way as well. And so that way, when you're giving work to somebody later on, you know exactly how it's done, you know exactly how it's supposed to be done, and you're in the loop. And so that is so powerful. And for those of you mamas starting out, you don't have to start big. Like, if you look at Wendy's incredible course, it's so top notch. It's like the best course I've ever seen. I mean, even in the online business industry, like, hands down. Seriously, like, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. Like, it's really, really beautiful, very elegant, very clean, very, very great production. And so, but you don't have to start there. And so
the first one wasn't.
That's exactly, but we don't see the first version. But as a side note, did you always have the domain mutusystem.com?
I got that pretty early on. Yeah. So that came about. Mutu comes from mummy tummy. So it's mummy tummy. And essentially I was told if I needed to own, trademark, whatever, a name of any description, the advice I was given by the government department I spoke to was make up a word, because that's the only way you can kind of get something unique. So it was literally a case of, I sat with my mum one night and we had a glass of wine and were playing with the words mummy tummy and and we came up with Mutu System. So that's where it came from.
I read that on your blog, on your website, and I thought that was brilliant. And I know Seth Godin talks about this a lot. He's like, you know, if your business name or, wannabe business name is not available, make up a word. Like, he made up so many words. Like, purple cow is one of them. It's like nobody would ever put the two together, but you did it so creatively. Took the two letters from the first word, two letters from the second word, and blended it so beautifully. And oftentimes, like, we moms are so stuck at what should we name our business. But I'm curious, did you ever have the thought of self-branding the business with your name?
With my name? No, not really. I wanted it to be something that was more than me, because there's so much in there, which is kind of the experience and study over many years and lots of different expertise. And I wanted to create something that didn't necessarily hinge on one person. I very much try, and I do this when I coach, whether I'm coaching customers or whether I'm coaching fitness professionals, which is, I've always believed very strongly that my role is not to stand in front of a bunch of moms and for them to be so impressed by my jargon and my expertise and to make them believe that they can't possibly do this without me.
Exactly.
And my goal, my passion is very much to not do that at all, but in fact to sort of truly empower, which is to give information so that you can do it yourself. So it's like, look, this is what's gone on in your body. This is how it works. This is what's happened. This is how we fix it. You know, I want you to understand it, not for me to just stand there and use lots of technical terms that don't help you. So again, it's not about me. It's not about needing me to tell you when you can go ahead with certain exercises or whatever. I'm very much about, and my program is very much about giving you the information so that you can understand to read your own body's signals.
And I love that about you. Like through all the videos, it's very, very visible from the very moment that you sign up in your emails. And like, you don't push any one strategy on anyone. And I really love that. Like one gets to decide what works for them. And that has been the case for me too, is like by taking your program. Oh my goodness gracious. I had no idea how to walk properly, apparently. And so, so we'll dig into those details a little bit later, but I do have so many questions for you. So while building your business, building your brand, what were some of the mistakes that you've made?
Oh God, hundreds. I almost kind of, I almost don't even think of them as mistakes, because it's just you do stuff and some stuff works and some stuff doesn't work, and so you keep going.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, there's all sorts of things along the way of trying different, whether it's who you're working with, whether it's software you're trying, whether it's a way of doing things, a way of presenting things. I'll give you a recent example. We did a ton of research with our customers, and they really wanted clothing, branded clothing. And so we made them this beautiful T-shirt. We got our designers involved.
I remember this.
And like nobody bought them. So we were like, okay. It's just, you know, you don't always know. It's kind of, you know, but that's one little thing, you know. It's kind of, there's always stuff, and so you go back to the drawing board, you start over, you ask again. It's like, how did we get this wrong? And you know, it's kind of like with every element of the business, whether it's who you're choosing to work with, what systems you're going to use. You know, we've all sort of been there where we think, oh my God, this system is going to change my business. It's going to transform it. Everything's going to be wonderful if I just use this particular software or whatever. And then it doesn't work out. Or you start working with a programmer or a whatever kind of supplier, and you think they're the answer to your problems, and then it doesn't always work out. So they're not mistakes. They're just, you know, we just keep going. That's
really interesting about the t-shirts, because they were adorable, and I obviously did not buy one, but you know, I would think that you did really well with them and the way they introduced them, and it was really great. But what would you have done differently? Maybe like some testing. Like, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, I guess it would be more testing with the fit, with the design. You know, it's kind of there's always so more you could. There's so many variables. There's so many things you could do. You know, so it's just one thing, and it's kind of. But you know, you don't go, oh, woe is me, nobody bought my t-shirts. You know, whatever. It's like, my business isn't about t-shirts. It's like, you know, we're doing other stuff here, and that's just one little thing along the way that you try, and it works. You try something else, and you just, you know, we're always talking to the customers and constantly, because the Mutu system community, the Mutu Mamas is such a wonderful community. So we have our own forum on our membership site, and they're always telling us, you know, what they want and what they like and what they don't like. So it's kind of, I have the best research group in the world, because I've got sort of tens of thousands of customers who are more than happy to tell us what they want. So we just keep asking. Yeah,
and your community is very engaged, which is incredible. And like, I know that in the beginning of your program, you ask the participants to take a before photo.
Yes,
and then compare it to the after photo. Now, so many mamas share their photos. It's
I know.
mind-blowing, and it's
I know.
so inspiring for other mamas, which is so incredible. So now, how did you get them so engaged and loving what you teach them and loving their bodies? Like, what did you do?
I think there's one of the things that I often hear from customers, and we have been since the start, was there's a lovely piece of feedback I get all the time, which is, I thought I was just buying an exercise program and I got so much more. That's what I hear all the time, because it's like, you know what, if you want exercises, you can go on YouTube and find exercises. The fitness industry is full of exercises.
Exactly.
It's not about that. It's not just about that. It's about it's about knowing exactly what you should be doing, but most importantly, it's about knowing exactly how to do it, and why you're doing it. Coming back to understanding why you're doing what you're doing, and there's an element about the way I approach it, which wasn't something that was manufactured or anything at all, but kind of it seemed to come about, certainly from that first welcome video in the program, where a lot of people say, oh my God, I cried when I listened to your welcome video. And it's like, wow, it's the welcome video to essentially an exercise program. But it's about, what you have beaten yourself up. You have hated on your body. You felt betrayed by it. You felt like it didn't do what it was supposed to do. It doesn't look like it's supposed to look. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to feel. All those things. It's like, lady, let's just start over here, and it's about back to the foundations, because forget the workouts can come in a minute, but first let's just go here. And I do go there, and I do go deep in a way that is not typical of a fitness professional.
Exactly. If you think about it, nobody goes deep into the core, into the foundation. Now, I really want to get into this now, but I do want to ask about your coaching stuff, like who you coached with. So sure. I've noticed that throughout the years, you've coached with Ali Brown. And Ali Brown, oh my gosh, I'm such a huge fan. She's achieved so much in her life. Yes, she's also a fellow mama. And how soon into your business did you start working with her? And I know she is not like a typical coach. She's a premium, top of the line coach. Like, what made you decide with going with her versus a coach maybe 2 steps ahead of you or ahead in business? Like, and was it like the money? Like, tell me all about it.
So the reason that came about, I was very clear that was what I wanted to do. When I was doing my flip camera backyard filming and Googling everything, and I had that way back then, I discovered Ali Brown online, and I bought, like, back then, she doesn't do this now, but she used to sell kind of how-to CD sets and, kind of online business stuff. And I bought something online for that, like a $97 program type thing. And there was like this template it was practical. It was like, okay, if you're going to lay out an online information product, like, this is the stuff you need to make happen. Wow. So it was literally like, I had the content. I knew what I needed. I knew exactly what I needed to put out there, but I had no idea how to structure that. And so I used her for that. And I can remember years ago looking on her website and sort of seeing that she did this private coaching and looking at the price. And it was like, yeah, right. Like, I'm ever going to be able to afford that. But I said to myself then, my phrase was, when I grow up, I'm going to coach with Ali Brown. Wow. So that was my goal. I was like, I'm going to do this. And I can remember exactly, because I've been coaching with Ali for 2 years now. And when I first did it, and I came in from my office because you have to interview to do it, I came in from my office having Skyped with her, and I said to my husband, was like, I've just signed up to work with Ali Brown. I was like, I've got no idea how we're going to pay for this. But again, it was just like it was a goal, and it was a leap, and I didn't want to. I want to go to the top. It's like I want it from the horse's mouth. You do what you can afford, as you can afford it. So I started with a $97 CD, that I bought online and worked with that for a few years. But it was like, no, I want to be there. I want to be in a room with those women.
Oh, that is so powerful. Like, Mamas, are you listening to this? Like, this is incredible. Like, if you want to go to the top, you got to work with the top people. But then again, you have to do what you can when you can.
You have to be patient. You have to be patient. You know, you don't just get to this stuff. You don't get, we have like 25,000 plus customers now around the world. You don't jump from zero to that. At the beginning, when I first put out that first program, I'd be like, yay, I sold a program this week. It was like one week. And then sort of gradually over time, it'd be like, oh my God, it's one a day now, and then, so and now we sell many every day. And it's, but you have to be patient. You don't just arrive online and expect people to care about, or to respect, or to have credibility, or that stuff takes time, and not everybody wants to hear that, but
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I mean, I've been online for 4 years, and I'm not at the top, but I'm getting there slowly. And and the fact that we're moms too, I think that we can't, like, we can watch those, the entrepreneurs that go from zero to the top and, compare ourselves. But we also have to realize that, I'm me, I'm not her. I have some responsibilities in my life that go before my business that take most of my time. So I can't go from 0 to 60 in a minute like some people do. And so, and that's okay.
You know what? I'm not even sure many do. It's like, that's what it looks like. That's what sometimes we think. Exactly. But it's, through working with Ali Brown and the amazing women I've met through that process, none of us just kind of woke up and made money while we slept. It's like just from day one. That's not the way it works. It's like there's a huge amount of integrity and passion that goes into creating something that has true value, and then you put that out there, and you're asking people's permission to come into their lives. You're asking permission to be in their inbox, to be on their screen. And that doesn't just happen. You've got to earn that. So yeah, I don't think anybody, it happens overnight for it. It might look that way sometimes, but I'm
so happy you brought this up, like, because to some people, I might just come up into the surface and like they've never heard of me. They've never even heard of the show, but who's this Vicky Lachenko? All of a sudden she's this like host of the Mompreneur Show. But you know what? It's taken me years. And a lot of it has to do with like finding clarity. And so, like, I'm curious how you found clarity and exactly what you want to offer. Like, was it all of a sudden a light bulb, or was it very slow and progressional and taken time?
In terms of what I wanted to deliver, you mean? Yeah. The message for me was clear at the start, in that even if I didn't know exactly what the answer was yet, I knew that women weren't getting the answers they needed. And so I was determined to find them and to deliver them, because what I knew for sure was that women are going to their doctor, they're going to, they're searching online, they're looking in women's magazines, and they're looking for answers to these questions. And I was sick of hearing the fob-offs and the misinformation and quite frankly, the stuff that doesn't work. And it's like, women are being told to do stuff that is wasting their time, and we don't have time to waste. No. So it's kind of, so my goal was very, very clear on that, in terms of wanting to provide those answers, but not just the answers in terms of do this exercise 10 times, do that one 10 times. It's much more about, I knew from early on that there was this missing, I call it the missing link. It's like this total missing link of a connection between body and mind that goes when we have babies for many of us.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. So the way I see it is, it's kind of, I remember after having my daughter, and I remember the midwife coming to check on me at one point, and she said, "Oh, your stitches are healing up beautifully. Would you like to see?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't want to see. Why would I want to see?" And so, but it was just like I want to look down there, and so I'd done it. I'd done exactly what so many of us do, which is like, whoa, this does not look and feel like it used to, you know? So I'm talking tummy, I'm talking pelvic floor, I'm talking that whole midsection, that it doesn't just not look the same. It feels different. It doesn't work in the same way. You know, everything's kind of, you know, everything feels different. Yeah. And so what we do with that is we cut off from it, because when we don't like something, or we don't understand something, or we feel out of control of something, we tend to shut down. Now, to shut off from parts of your body, for instance, when you've gone to the doctors for your pap smear, that's a few minutes, and we go away to, you know, a happy place in our head, you know, because it's for a few minutes. I don't really want to be here. I'll let the doctor do what the doctor has to do, and I'm back. Now, for a few minutes, that's cool. But if we're doing that for weeks and months and years, then we have a problem. We have a big problem, because what's happened is our minds and our hearts have shut down from our body. So when we do exercise, and so I hear this, you know, I know that this is the case for so many women, which is they'll throw them, they don't like the way it looks and feels. They know they want to change that. Yeah. And so they'll throw themselves at, whether it be boot camp or, you know, sort of really hardcore training, high intensity work, the stuff that they have been led to believe will get them where they want to be. And their body doesn't always react in a good way to that. And so they get mad with their body. They get even madder, because it's still not doing what you want it to do. It's not doing what you need it to do. And so again, you kind of have this battle going on. It's like, I will run, even though, like, I'm peeing myself when I run and I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to run. It's like, we need to back up, and we need to reestablish that connection between heart and mind and body, and refine those muscles if we're going to make them work. We can't fix muscles that we've stopped talking to. And when we've stopped talking to a whole vital section of our body, we can't fix it. So we have to have that conversation first.
So it's very, very psychological.
Yes, I believe it is. It's a very emotional journey, and it is for many women. It is for many women. Hence, as I say, many people sort of get very emotional about that first stage, because they're tuning in to parts of them that they have chosen consciously and unconsciously to just shut down from for a long time.
It's so powerful, and we're not taught this in regular fitness programs.
No.
So I really appreciate you, Wendy, for putting your heart into this, not just your wisdom and knowledge. So I appreciate it. So we're going to take some questions from our listeners. Olga says, I know I have I can never pronounce this word.
Say DR, diastasis recti, or some people say diastasis, doesn't matter. DR.
Okay, DR. Is that covered in the program? I'll wake up with a flat tummy, and after I eat and drink, I look 3 to 4 months pregnant. And that's how Olga, feels that she has it. So, Olga, yes, it is, but I'll have Wendy answer that.
Yes, absolutely. Mutu system deals with diastasis. It's a very key part of what we do, because it's a problem that is an issue that is being dealt with by so many women. So if you're not familiar with what it is, diastasis recti or diastasis recti is the parting of the two, if you like, the two parts of the six-pack muscles. So what you end up with, what it looks like, is, for instance, if you're lying on your back and then you come straight up, you sit straight up, then you'll get a couple of ways it can look. It kind of domes. It might look like it's doming up in your abdomen, or it can also look kind of like what we call a bread loaf shape, like a kind of ridge straight down the middle. And that's what you'll see as you come directly up. What you're actually seeing is basically your innards popping up out the middle. Gross but true, because what you've got going on there is instability. You've got a lack of stability, whereby you have connective tissue on the front of your abdomen, which has been thinned and weakened and is no longer holding your core stable. So that's diastasis recti, and yes, absolutely, that's what we deal with. Yeah.
And so it's interesting, because how we found, and I'm going to go a little bit off course here for a second, but when my sister originally found you, she found you on Google just by Googling DR, and you were one of the first programs that popped up. Can you, I'm sorry, I'm totally switching subjects right now, but can you go back and how are you able to get on the first page of results? Was it over time, the content that you're putting on, or do you have like a really awesome, cool SEO trick up your sleeves?
Oh, in terms of being found online,
yes.
You mean? No, there is no cool SEO trick. And I think sort of there was a time some years ago when everybody was claiming to have very cool SEO tricks.
Yes.
And what you ended up with was those websites that just repeated a sentence over and over again, and made for supremely dull reading. But I'm afraid Google figured that one out a long time ago. Yes. So no, we come up on Google, and that's simply through longevity of writing about this stuff. It's the organic way. That's why we're there. So there are a number of blog posts. A couple which some of our biggest landing pages are blog posts I wrote like 3 years ago, or even more in some cases. So it's kind of Google rewards, if you like, content that people find, stay and read. So I'm afraid there's no shortcut, or if there is, I don't know what it is.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because there's always like, hey, here's the new webinar about SEO tricks and rank your website at number 1. And it's so frustrating because we are already running after all these like social media here, Facebook here, and Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram. And it's so overwhelming. And so I'm so happy that I can like officially get that off my chest and just focus on content.
Yes, absolutely do.
Okay, so Katie says, let me see her. Let me find her comment. Okay, Olga, same problem here. I didn't know the name though, so I just let and something. Okay, anyway, the probably autocorrect. But yeah, Katie has the same problem with DR. She just didn't know what it was called. And ladies, like this is not like a pitch fest for you. You know that every single show on the Mompreneur Show is really to educate you, inspire you. That's why we bring moms who are not only expert in a certain field, but they're sharing their story as well, which was so empowering, not only to those of you who are in the fitness industry, but for those of us who are in various different industries, because I know that the advice Wendy shared with us is applicable to anything. And I really appreciate your comments and being interactive here. And I want to say thank you to Joy, who's also a member of Mutu System. She said, yes, very emotional still about my body not working as it should, almost 3 years out from my C-section. And she says, thank you, Wendy. Lucy says she works with clients, and she says, I tell my clients it's 90% mental, psychological. This is one of the things I love about Wendy's approach. Yes. And you know what, Lucy, I think this is a really great time for us to talk about Mutu System Pro, because Wendy, I know, oh my gosh, like this is so incredible how many different, how do you even want to say, like gears moving you have in your business. And I really want to talk about the Mutu System Pro and how can a fitness professional use your system, how does that work, and apply it with their clients?
So this is something that I was being asked to do for many years, and I kept kind of pushing back on it because I was like, no, I'm serving the client. I'm not so interested in training the trainer kind of thing, and I kind of stayed away from that model for a long time. But we'd kind of got to a point where there was so much, I was getting a lot of questions and a lot of demand from both sides. So we were getting emails to my team the whole time from, for instance, yoga instructors or Pilates instructors saying, how do I get certified in Mutu? And then on the other side, we were getting customers. And probably one of the things that we're asked the most, or when people are struggling or they're not sure if they're doing it right, that's like probably the biggest thing, it's like, am I doing it right? And there is a ton of instruction in the program to make sure that you are getting it right, but sometimes we want hands-on. And so the customer was asking for it, the fitness professionals were asking for it. So it was like, okay, I'll do it. So we started doing it this year, and literally we're just starting out. We're starting out really small, and it's a very intimate training program. It's a 2.5-day certification process. And there's all sorts of different professionals that come on this. So we've had physiotherapists and physical therapists. We've had doulas and midwives, Pilates instructors, yoga instructors, personal trainers. And the idea is that it's an extremely flexible certification in the sense that it's like you what I impart over those days, and then what the pros are sort of licensed and able to do with that is super flexible. So it's like, if you're a doula, you apply it in this way to being a doula. You know, it's not like teaching a doula to be a fitness instructor.
Exactly.
It's getting her to be simply, it's putting more tools in her toolbox to do her job. Brilliant. That's what I'm giving.
I love that. So, for example, if I'm a Mutu system, not user, participant, student, eventually, would I be able to go on your site and find a fitness professional who is certified in your program?
Yes.
So she can help me hands-on?
Correct. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing, because we have, and it's listed on it's a listing on there now. And obviously, you know, there aren't hundreds of them yet. So, you know, it's kind of, if there's one in your area, you know, you're lucky. But we're going to be building that gradually. And it's the lovely thing is that you can kind of do it by specialism too. So it's kind of, if yoga's your thing, then you find a Mutu Pro who's a yoga instructor, you know, and so then you get kind of that expertise in it. And very often we're asked for, I'm going to physical therapy, but I'd love to work with a physical therapist who really understands this stuff. So,
Very cool.
Because there's those different disciplines involved in the process, that works really well.
I really love that. And so, like, if I'm interested in, well, I'm not, but for our listeners who are interested in becoming a Mutu System Pro, is this like you said 2.5 day in-person training certification? Yes. Oh, that's so amazing.
Yes. I'm literally about to go and do one, like, end of next week. I'm off to Orlando and we're doing another session there. So there won't be another intake until next year now. So that's to be decided. But if you're interested in it, then you can go onto the website under Mutu Pro, and I believe there's like find a Mutu Pro and become a Mutu Pro. If you go to become a Mutu Pro, you can sign up to be on that list to make sure that you know about the next time we do it.
That's really, really great. And Wendy, I love how you took and added this aspect to your business, which is genius, absolutely genius. So I want to talk to you about, like, we are running out of time. Seriously, I can sit here and talk to you forever. So incredible. Wow. But I want to talk to you about running for a little bit.
Sure.
I drive by, and I am originally from Portland, Oregon. We have a lot of runners, like a gazillion. Every time you drive, you walk, there's runners. And some of them, I just, like, ever since starting to take your program, it's so funny. I always look how people walk. Yep. And it's way easier to watch somebody else do it than doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But, like, there's so many people that run wrong. Like, I see, like, there was this guy on a track. He was running like this, and, like, half his back was, and he was perfectly functional. And I'm like, isn't that, like, hurting his body? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, you know what, with running is a really interesting one, because many moms love to run.
Yes.
But there are many moms in certain stages of recovery that shouldn't necessarily be running. That doesn't mean they can never run, but it does mean that certain foundations need to be built first. So it's kind of about running correctly or incorrectly. It's, again, there's a kind of backup process to that, which is about listening to your body, and what it's telling you when you try to do stuff. Now, if you have a compromised pelvic floor and core, which if you've just had a baby, you have, and if you've not been able to kind of build those foundations since, you still have, even if you had your baby a long time ago. That's another thing I'm asked a lot, like, am I too late? It's like, it's never too late to do something. Okay.
Exactly.
But yeah, with regards to running, it's kind of, I love to run, but I make sure that my core, my body can withstand that impact before I go run. I don't run to get my body strong to withstand the impact, if that makes sense.
That's so interesting.
You can't you have to build the foundations first. And the signs are pretty darn obvious, once we start tuning in. If you feel like you're falling out, literally, women will often describe that feeling, whether it's from the tummy, from the front or pelvic floor. If you literally feel a drawing down, a pull, like a falling sensation, your body doesn't want to run. Okay, it's not ready. back up, do other stuff. So, and then by doing that other stuff, because as you know, I teach a lot of talking about how we align our bodies when we sit, walk, stand, and run. By getting that alignment and that sort of base, literally the mechanics of your body into the right place to start with, sort of with those foundation stages, then by the time you do run, one, you're really listening and you know your body's ready, and you're doing it in a way that is more functional and beneficial to you.
Very interesting, because so many of us, goodness, me included, is like, I want to get into shape and I start with running, but my foundation is not there and I'm doing it backwards, and it's not making me better per se, but it's actually doing worse for my body because I'm not ready.
It is. Yeah, exactly. It's like we're led to believe, and so many women unfortunately are told and believe, that if I want better abs, I need to do more and harder ab exercises. So if I want better abs, I've got to plank longer, I've got to crunch more, I've just got to do more and more and harder and harder. But you're asking muscles to do something that they are functionally unable to do. So all you're doing is actually making the rest of your body take up the slack, and you're causing yourself further problems and injuries. So you're not building the muscles that you think you are. That's the sad thing, and where so many women get frustrated, because you're not building what you think you're building. Unfortunately, so you need to kind of go back and then build those foundations first. Planks, etc., are not a means to an end. It's like, if why do we want to plank? So there's nothing fun about planking. We don't get strong cores to plank. We get strong cores so we can do stuff.
Exactly.
So we can do whatever chosen activity that is, as well as just function on a normal level.
Exactly. And Wendy, thank you so much for sharing all this. This is incredible, because I literally learned to walk by using your system, because I was not walking correctly. And I love how you talk about engaging the core, always engaging the core. Now, like, one of my exercises when I go to the park with the kids, and some of you mamas have seen it because I post it on Snapchat, Instagram sometimes, is walking along the curb. Along the curb and having those movements where it's really engaging my core when walking on that really thin line. And so I literally, every time I do it, I think of you, and I'm always thinking
exactly. So you're using your core when you need to use your core, but you don't suck it in the whole time. That's not the goal.
Exactly.
The goal is that your core kicks in when it's needed, and then it'll work, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you so much, Wendy. So how can, I want to read a question / comment from Joy. I know we're running out of time, but she said, I don't think I have DR, but I do know I have pelvic floor dysfunction and have many weak and tight muscles going on in my core, from my quads, glutes, psoas, never heard of that, hips, stomach, back, very painful muscles. So I've started using Mutu for all that. Do women have success with strengthening those core muscles in a healthy way using Mutu?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what's important to remember. People can get very hung up on the DR thing. Diastasis, having a so-called gap in your abdominals, is simply a sign of a core that isn't quite working right. Just like stress incontinence is, just like urge incontinence is, just like pelvic floor dysfunction is. It's a sign that stuff isn't working. Okay, so we don't address DR like DR's the thing. It's just a symptom. It's just a symptom of something underlying. So all of those issues, pelvic floor dysfunction, hernia, prolapse, DR, they are all the result of a core that is essentially not functioning, all in slightly different ways. But they are the result of a body that is aligned not quite correctly, that is not withstanding pressure quite correctly.
Exactly.
And so we need to adjust that. So all of those issues are they all need the same foundations, okay?
Exactly.
A prolapse isn't the problem. A prolapse has happened because there is a problem. Same for DR, same for hernia, etc. So yeah, all of those issues are very much catered for, if you like. Yeah.
Such a great perspective. Now, what about heels? We women love heels. I know how you feel about it, but I really want to hear, I want our viewers to hear what you would think about them.
So this is sort of as a result of some biomechanics study that I've been doing over some years now, and learning from great academics like Katie Bowman, amongst others. But the alignment issues with when we stand in heels, we are quite literally throwing our body into a position that it cannot function on a normal level. So just like I was just saying about those issues are the result of a core that can't quite work right. Yeah. Well, if you're in 3-inch stilettos, your core can't quite work right. Okay, it just can't. Now, this doesn't mean, I'm always being asked, can I never wear heels? Of course you can, just like, we do lots of things that are not necessarily, perfectly good for us all the time. We have lives, but it's always about checks and balances. So it's like, be aware that when you wear those beautiful shoes, your body is going to need a little bit of TLC afterwards, and like take them off as much as you can. So it's kind of, I don't wear them at all, but that's literally because I've spent so long in minimal and barefoot shoes now that my foot would no more go into a pointy stiletto than it would, a shoe 3 sizes too small for me. So, and I could never walk in the things anyway, but
wow, very interesting. So, ever since taking your program, I got rid of my heels, and I have one super cute pair of stilettos that I wear like on very special occasion. But most of all, it's like really flat shoes, bare feet shoes. And I really appreciate you for opening my eyes into this world of comfortable walking.
I know, it is more comfortable. It's definitely more comfortable.
It is. Well, Wendy, I had such a wonderful time talking with you.
Thank you. It's been really good fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for those of you watching, Mama, thank you so much for joining us. It has been such an incredible time to spend time with you, to talk with you, and to answer your questions. If you have any other questions for Wendy, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Sure. I know that Wendy will stop by and she will answer those. For those of you who have already been asking questions and engaging, thank you so much. This was such a fun episode. And if you would like to learn more about Wendy and her system, go to mutusystem.com. Again, that's MUTU system.com. I personally use it. It's absolutely incredible. And Mama, the reason that I'm telling you this, the reason that I had Wendy on the show is to inspire, to encourage, and to educate you that you really got to take good care of yourself. All of us had babies, and it's really time to take care of your body. All right. Thank you again so much for joining us on the Mompreneur Show. I'm your host, Vicky Lashenko, and this is the show that features amazing stories of the most remarkable mom entrepreneurs. I hope you will join us live next Monday, every single Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. All right, I'm going to let you go, and I'll see you below in the comments in just a minute. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.